welcome speech by James Scicluna, WH Partners.
The past 2 years have been challenging, haven't they? But they've also shown us how resilient our businesses can be, how resilient this industry can be, and frankly, how resilient we personally can also be. Business life has gone on, and it will continue to go on. I was reading a book recently by the US author, lawyer, and activist Elizabeth Edwards, and she wrote something which struck me and I thought really applied to these past 2 years. I'll read a quote for you. She stood in the storm, and when the wind did not blow her way, she adjusted her sails. And haven't a lot of us really done that over the past 2 years? My partners at WH Partners and I are very pleased to host this conference once again. This year, we're collaborating with Sigma and with the International Masters of Gaming Law, the IMGL, to bring you a day of top-notch insights and discussions. Speaking of IMGL, welcome to Mark, who's flown in from Missouri, IMGL's president, and welcome to all of our panelists today from some 18 countries. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation and being here with us. I'd like to thank the Sigma team for somehow pulling this together, and I would especially like to thank my colleague Sorana Ionitsa, without whose hard work and dedication this really wouldn't have been possible. As you've probably seen in the program, in the schedule of today's conference, we will be looking at some of the changes that occurred and some of the challenges which have arisen over the past 2 years. We have most definitely seen an accelerated consolidation in the online gambling market, both B2B and B2C. We have seen private equity firms, especially large US private equity, play an increasingly active role in this space, as well as large US businesses, some with a long history of running integrated resorts, others on the supply side, and others, I suppose, relatively newcomers, but with already enviable market caps and access to finance. We continue to see important changes in taxation, many of which cut across the globe and have, and will continue to have, or perhaps will increasingly have, an impact on digital industries, including the online gambling industry. In certain European countries, we have also seen emerge, especially over the past 2 years, a class of very litigious players funded by litigation funding firms and making claims against B2C operators. We have new regulations and licensing systems in the Netherlands, in Germany, and in Greece. And it will be interesting today to explore with our panelists what impact these have had on the online gaming industry and what opportunities have they created. One of the questions which I think remains very pertinent when it comes to the regulation of gambling is whether public health is really now a key driver for gambling regulation. Otherwise, how else explain restrictions on advertising, very strict restrictions, or indeed bans, as well as restrictions or tough restrictions indeed on deposit or stake limits in some jurisdictions. More topics. 3 years after the GDPR, what issues are operators really facing on a day-to-day basis? And are online gambling companies embracing evolution in payment method technology? This conference brings together, rather this show brings together gambling, but it also brings together some aspects of fintech and crypto. And I think it will be very interesting to listen into one of our panels which deals with payments and understand whether operators now must really embrace crypto as a payment method, or at least offer the ability of conversion upon deposit. And what about the very latest in online gambling in jurisdictions such as the UK, in Sweden, and in the US and Canada? These are topics which I hope will give rise to vigorous and insightful discussions today, both here during our panels, but also amongst you throughout the course of this event. To kick off, let's throw the spotlight very close to home. Well, home indeed, Malta. Undoubtedly the hub of online gambling in Europe and perhaps even in the world. How is Malta facing up to a rapidly changing world, to outside pressures, to increased scrutiny from all sides, and the much-spoken FATF grey listing, on which I do recommend that you read the insightful and quite sober article in the IMGL magazine edited by my friend Simon Planzer. Now, on that note, let us get the ball rolling, perhaps I should say the dice, and launch the first panel. So can I invite on stage my indefatigable partner? I was hoping to pronounce that properly, actually. Olga Finkel, with the first panel. Thank you very much.